talking about. It's devastating. Alzheimer's is a devastating situation. It used to be called old timers. That's what it used to be called, old timers. And guess what? Back in the old days, the old timers back in the old days, they didn't have it as bad as they have it now with the Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's now is unbelievable. First of all, listen, if for years we've been being tricked and told that we're living longer and healthier. Just so you know that, for years. We've been told that all through the 90s, all through the 80s, all through the 90s, all through the 2000s. We've been told. And all through the 80s, the 90s, and 2000s, I've been saying to everybody I know, everywhere, and I even wrote it in the First Medical Meeting book, but I said it long before then, that we're not living longer. We're living shorter, but no one's reporting it. No one's saying it. It's not out there. It's not being talked about. And so what this means is that people are having shorter lives. There isn't the 90-year-olds and 100-year-olds and 80-year-olds of the day in the nursing homes, in the assisted living, they're not there anymore. They're not there anymore. I used to go into nursing homes in the older days when I would help out people, because I was working 24/7 and doing readings for people, medical readings, and getting the information they need and getting them better. And from morning to night, that's all I would do for year after year after year after year. And a lot of families would be like, look, can you go into the nursing home? Can you see my mother? Can you go into the nursing home, see my father? Can you go in there? And I would go in there in the older days, okay? And you would just see old people, real old people. They'd be like 100, and you'd see a lot of them. You wouldn't believe it. You'd just be a bunch of them, whole bunch of them, in their hundreds. And then in the 90s, you'd see less, and then you start seeing some younger people. You say, wait a minute here. In the 90s, you'd see, okay, we're dealing with younger people now. How come there's like a 50-year-old in here? How come there's a 50-year-old in here? How's that possible? How come there's a 55-year-old here? And then the early 2000s, I remember going to nursing homes, and there'd be 40-year-olds, 30-year-olds, 30-year-olds. You believe it? 30-year-olds. With less 100-year-olds and less 90-year-olds and less 80-year-olds. And there'd be lots of 50s and 60s. Sure, there's plenty of people out there that are still in their 90s, and plenty of relatives say, hey, I still have an aunt that's 90. I still have an aunt that's 94. Sure, but it's nothing compared to what it was. It's a fraction to what it was, a fraction. And guess what? I think there has been a report because somebody told me, someone say, hey, Anthony, did you know for the first time ever they admitted that life is actually on the decline? The life expectancy is actually on the decline, that it's actually declining? I said it's been declining for decades. It's been declining.